Hey guys, what's up? Caleb Downing here, and today we're going to talk about the new PL-3 flashlight from Olight. Let's get into it. Alright, so the new PL-3. Before we really get into it, I just have to throw my disclaimer out there. Olight does send me flashlights to make video content and stuff for them, so if what I say, whatever, if it jives differently with you, that's fine. But if you got to take what I say with a grain of salt, take what I say with a grain of salt. If you want to try to read between the lines, you can do that. But what I've always told anybody that sent me stuff, right, any company that I've worked with before, and currently or anytime anybody sends me stuff, I'm going to say the good stuff and the bad stuff, the ugly stuff, the beautiful stuff, right? If the light works or the item works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I try to work with companies to try to make their products better, and sometimes they just decide not to do that, and so that's whenever you'll see a bad review. But so far, Olight has been very good, right? So let's just, if you need to take what I say with a grain of salt, take it. But we're going to continue with this review and keep talking about this thing, okay? So, the Olight PL-3 Valkyrie. They sent me this light, this one. It was earlier this year, and they've changed a couple different things about it, and that's what I'm saying. I've worked with them before, and they actually kudos to them. They work with the end users to try to make products better. That's one major thing I will say about Olight that I actually do like. All right, so they sent me this to try to help them, test it a little bit and see how it works, and I was pretty excited about it. I thought this is a pretty cool, ingenuitive idea, however you say that word. A good idea, a forward-thinking idea. And basically, the main difference between the PL-3 and the PL-2, if you have a PL-2, these are very close to the same footprint size and everything. Attachment points, maybe attachment points I think are a little bit different. But the main thing that they did on here is they have a semi-custom adjustable placement system. Wow, that was a lot of complicated words. I'm sure they have a specific word for that, or a combination of words for that. But anyway, what I'm saying is when you go to attach this flashlight to your host, whatever that host might be, you take the screw all the way out, right? It's captured. The screw's not going to come all the way out, but the tightening screw or adjustment screw, you loosen it all the way, and then you can push on it like a plunger. Okay, and then on the inside, where usually there's a little rail section, basically, that goes onto your host, whatever that be, a Glock, a 1911, a 1913 handguard rail, whatever it might be. That little block is now adjustable if you push down on that little plunger. Then you can adjust this. I believe there's 3 different placements that you can adjust this guy. That is cool. That's just some micro adjustment, right? Sometimes your light fits your host, right? But there's a little bit of gap and there's nothing you can do about it just because that's how the firearm is made. Well, in this case, they let you potentially fix that with the placement of your light because you can slightly adjust where this light is going to ride. That's the main difference, I believe. I believe that's the main difference between the PL-2 and the PL-3. Now, this one that I was showing you on, I shouldn't have been showing you on this one. This was one of their testing models, right, that they have. The ones that they actually send out, the ones that you actually will get, are a little bit prettier, right? A little prettier, got numbers on it and arrows. So number 1, you're gonna push on the plunger, and then number 2, you can adjust where that slot goes. So let's show you that slot in action. Let's kind of show you how that works. We got a SIG, we got a 1911. These are all cleared before, so don't worry about that. And then a Glock. Okay, so these are 3 very common hosts that you would probably use, and we will use the one that you guys would get if you get one, not the older version. So we'll set this guy. Let's say we set him all the way to the rear, right? In the adjustment, and then we set this guy in the pistol, right? Set it on the slot. We didn't tighten anything down, but he set in there, and you see that gap? There's a gap in there. You see that gap? If you press the plunger and push back, you can take up that gap. So now this guy fits properly, right? And if you're gonna actually use this like this, you would now use the thumb screw and tighten everything down, okay? We're not gonna do that right now because we're gonna put it on the SIG. So let's do the same thing with the SIG. Take the SIG, we'll put it on one of these slots. See how he's in that slot? You push the button and you push it back and it takes up that extra little real estate, right? It fills up that gap. It's nice. I think it's a nice, it's a nice way to cosmetically, and not just cosmetically, it goes with your hand placement, ergonomics, right? There's your fancy word for you. It goes with the ergonomics of whatever you might be trying to do. If you are trying to, maybe you got bigger fingers, so you need this guy to be further out, right? So if he's all tight like most people have it, but you got bigger fingers and you need it to be further out, you could adjust it and pop it further out, right? To where sometimes, I mean, most of the time you don't have any adjustment on the flashlight. Most of the time. There's some lights that do. Even Olight has some lights that do that. I think, I want to say this is one of the first ones they have on their full-size weapon lights. There's their micro little ones that have done that before, but these full-size ones, I'm not sure that they've done that before. But that's the main difference between this model and some of the previous ones that they've had previously. All right, so now that we've talked about that main adjustment feature, let's just talk about some of the regular features of the flashlight. I'll throw some specs and stuff up here for you, and I'm just going to read it off. Basically, in essence, the main things that people want to know are the run times and how bright is the thing, right? Because everybody judges a flashlight nowadays, it seems, on whether it be runtime or lumens or candela. And Olight gives their information in lumens, and they say at high beam it's at 1300 lumens. And if you leave it on the whole time, it's going to taper down through different stages for the full runtime, which would be 270 minutes. If you leave it on low, which is 200 lumens, they, according to their spec sheet, it should stay on 200 lumens, clear out for the 270-minute runtime, and then it would just turn off, I would assume. That's what it's done before. That's what these things have done before. And what I have to say is every time that I've tested their flashlights, every time I've tested Olight flashlights and their run times, they have been spot on, if not better than their advertised runtime. That's my testing. I've done that in some of my earlier videos, and I kept doing it. It was taking a whole lot of time. Every time on multiple flashlights, they exceeded their stated run times. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take their word for it now. And at some point we'll retest, maybe with one of these newer models that they keep sending, we'll test that runtime and see if anything has changed. But so far, if they say it's gonna run for, let's say they say it's gonna run for an hour, so far it's ran for at least an hour, and then usually a little bit longer than that. So kudos to them for actually being true on their run times. I have no way to test lumens and candela, but you know, at least the run times are spot on. Speaking of candela, lumens, and everything, let's talk about how you actually use the flashlight. You got two paddle switches on the back right here, and I do like their switches better than even some of the higher name brands out there. The only downside that I have with them is they make a clicking noise, right? What's that clicking noise? It's some comedian out there did that, but they do make a clicking noise. If they didn't make the clicking noise, I mean, bar none, I would prefer this system over everything else out there. I'm not just saying that. I'm for real, right? I have higher brand flashlights, and I like these switches. I don't know why, I just like them. Anyway, so right now this is on what? This is on low. So to turn it on, you just click the light, one of these switches, one or the other. And if you just want to keep it on, you simply click it like I was doing. It's momentary if you press and hold for just a second. So that's momentary, right? And if you just click it, it stays on. This is low, so that's 200 lumens. If you do a quick double click, then you switch to high lumens, right? Your high setting, right? So that's your high setting, that 1300 lumens. And this thing has a memory in it, so whatever you left it on, that's what it's gonna stay on. So if we turn the light off, turn the light back on, it's gonna be on that last setting that you had it. All right, this also has a strobe mode, so I'm gonna turn that on. If you get seizures about strobes and stuff, look away. But if you click both sides at the same time, then you get strobe. All right, so turn it off. There you go. Stop strobing. So that's the same basic, you know, use for this guy, or the, what's the term I'm looking for? Right, that's how you use the light, right? The buttons and switches and stuff. That's how this thing works, and it's pretty much the same across the board on their other flashlights and stuff, right? It's momentary, constant, or click both sides for strobe. To change the batteries, you would have to take the flashlight off. Now this doesn't have a laser or anything on there. It's easy to take off, so you're not gonna be losing zero or anything like that. So I don't have a problem with having to take the light off to change the battery. But you would unscrew, you know, your adjustment screw, you take the light off the host, and then back here they have this little metal tab that says pull open. So you pull it up, and then the back of the flashlight will open up and you can dump out your batteries, all right? These batteries that they send are not rechargeable. I will say, however, and I will give kudos to them, they did not send me these, but I purchased these myself. Olight does make rechargeable batteries, and I've used these in not only Olights, but other brands that I'm not going to mention, other higher brands, and even optics. I've used their rechargeable batteries, and I like them, right? They're honestly, they're well priced, and they function and they work. I like them, right? So whenever I can, I use those because lithium batteries are not cheap. I'd rather get rechargeables that I can use multiple times. Anyway, put the batteries back in. It's labeled up on top here, plus and minus, so you orient your batteries properly. I think, and I'm not gonna, don't quote me on this, but I think this has reverse polarity protection. I think most of the time they do, not sure. Make sure you put the batteries in the right way and you don't have to worry about it. But once they get in there, this is O-ring sealed. You can see that there is, or it's kind of O-ring, it's kind of got a gasket on it. So this has a waterproof rating of what? IPX6, right? So it can get wet. You shouldn't have to worry about it getting wet. I wouldn't go scuba diving with it, but if it gets wet, you're not gonna run into a big bad deal, all right? So that's your main features of the PL-3 Valkyrie. I really do appreciate Olight sending this thing out for me to look at. I really, really do appreciate them working with the end users to make these products better. That's one big thing that I would say Olight has over some other companies. You don't have to be the biggest wig out there to help them develop products. You really don't have to. And so kudos to them for standing by their stuff, but also being willing to change things and to adjust course of fire, or whatever the term would be. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. That's it. Thank you, Olight, for sending this stuff out. If any of you guys have had any experiences with Olight, whether it be good, whether it be bad or ugly, let us know, right? We like to know from everybody out there who has honestly used these products, right? I'm not talking for Olight. I'm talking for me and the end user people. We want to know what works and what doesn't work, because the only way to really know is to hear from the people that use the stuff, right? Companies say things, but the end user are the people that actually use the product the most, right? So we like to hear, I like to hear people's feedback and whatnot, right? If you guys are interested in these things, this is a new offering from them. So by the time this video posts, I do believe the light will be out. There should be a link down below, whether that's a direct link to this flashlight or just a link to Olight in general. You can filter your way through there and find their new products and stuff if you're interested in that, but that link should be down below, I do believe. And I think it's an affiliate link, I think I get kickback from that. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to that because I'm not trying to sell these. I'm just trying to give you guys good information, but if I can help you, then I can. And part of helping you, I do have a discount code, and that'll be down below. So use that if you are so inclined to purchase said items. That's it. All right. Y'all be good to be safe. Appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, and everything. And hopefully, we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.